Have you ever been part of a big project that just felt like a ticking time bomb? Where all the pieces only come together at the very, very last minute? Well, today, we're going to demystify a practice from the software world called continuous integration that's designed to prevent exactly that. And hey, even if you're not a coder, trust me, the core idea here could totally change how you approach any team project.
So, before we get to the solution, let's really dig into the problem it was built to solve. Let's talk about the integration nightmare. It's a scenario that causes, well, chaos in countless projects, way beyond the world of tech.
It's a familiar story, isn't it? You've got a team of smart, talented people all working super hard on their own parts of a project. Yet, when it's finally time to combine all that hard work, things just, well, they fall apart. Let's break down why that actually happens.
And that is the integration nightmare. It's kind of like building a car where one team makes the engine, another team builds the wheels, and a third team is on the chassis. But, and this is the key part, they never check if the parts actually fit together until the day before the big race. The chances of a catastrophic failure are just huge. And finding that one tiny piece that's causing the whole problem, it's a stressful, time-consuming mess.
All right, so how do you escape that nightmare? Well, you do it by adopting a much smarter way to build, one that transforms that last-minute panic into a calm, predictable, and honestly, a pretty routine process.
And this is it, continuous integration, or CI for short. The core idea is so simple, but it is revolutionary. Instead of one massive, high-risk merge at the very end of a project, you integrate tiny little changes, frequently, often multiple times a day. By making integration this small, everyday non-event, you completely remove the fear and the risk. It's a total shift in philosophy.
So you're probably asking, how on earth can a team possibly integrate their work that often? Well, the secret sauce is the automated build. This is the absolute engine of CI. Think of it like a super vigilant robot assistant. The moment a developer submits, or pushes, their new code to the shared project, this assistant instantly wakes up, merges the new piece in, and runs a whole battery of tests to make sure nothing is broken.
And here's what that actually looks like in practice. As you can see in this flow, the moment that code gets pushed, an automated process just kicks off. But the key takeaway here isn't just the steps themselves, it's the speed of the feedback loop. Instead of waiting weeks to find out there's a problem, the team knows within minutes. That speed is what makes this entire philosophy possible.
Okay, this all sounds great, but what's the actual payoff here? Why do teams invest the time and energy to set all this up? Let's get into the real, concrete benefits. Just look at the contrast on this slide. It is literally night and day. The old way meant finding problems way too late, when they were big and tangled up with everything else. It meant these high-stress, all-or-nothing merge events. But with CI, you find issues almost immediately, when they're still tiny and easy to fix. Every little merge is a small, low-risk step forward, all powered by that super rapid automated feedback.
So, to sum it all up, the benefits of CI are about way more than just developer convenience. It's really about building confidence. By keeping the software in a state where it's always ready to be released, teams can deliver value to their users faster and much more reliably. It slashes risk, cuts down on human error, and ultimately, it just leads to a better product.
But here's the thing. Successfully adopting CI isn't just about installing a new tool. It's about building a whole culture of quality. And to really make it work, teams often lean on two other key practices: constantly maintaining their code and making sure they learn before they leap.
The first one is refactoring, which is basically digital tidying. You're not adding any new features. You're just cleaning up and reorganizing the existing code to make it cleaner, more efficient, and easier for the next person to understand. It's kind of like regularly tidying your workshop so you can always find your tools and work more effectively.
And the value of doing this is enormous. Clean, readable code is just plain easier and cheaper to maintain and update in the long run. Refactoring is how you proactively fight technical debt, which is just a fancy term for the idea that taking messy shortcuts now creates a much bigger headache for you later.
And that second key practice is the architecture spike. Now, this fits perfectly with that whole CI philosophy of reducing risk. When you're facing a tricky new challenge, instead of committing to some huge risky plan, you run a small, focused experiment. The goal isn't to build the final product, it's simply to learn and answer a key question. You build a small model to test your idea before you build the skyscraper.
So when you put all of this together, Continuous integration, this idea of refactoring, and these learning spikes, you get more than just a set of practices. You really get a whole new mindset.
This quote just nails the fundamental shift, doesn't it? The goal is to move from integration as a painful, high-risk event to a continuous, low-stress process. It's about replacing that feeling of fear and chaos with momentum and confidence, one small, safe step at a time.
And that leads us with a final thought. We've seen how this works for software, but just think about it for a second. If making small, frequent, and verifiable changes is a fundamentally less risky way to build complex things, where else in your work or even in your life could you apply that same exact principle?